Tom sat near the shuttle window as the endless darkness of space rolled by. Tiny lights of distant stars glimmered like silver dust. His heart beat fast, but not from fear. He had dreamed of this day since he was a child, the day he would step into the United Star Alliance Academy. It was the most respected military training school in the known galaxy. For many, getting in was impossible. Thousands applied each year from dozens of different worlds, but only the best were chosen. Humans were few among them. Most aliens in the galaxy saw humans as fragile, slow, and unfit for serious combat. Tom knew this. Every human cadet knew this. Still, he wanted to prove them wrong. The shuttle landed with a smooth thud on the docking platform of Zerth Prime, a massive orbital station shaped like a silver ring. Beyond its walls were the stars and the silent pull of the nearby gas giant. Tom stepped out into the bright docking bay. The air smelled faintly metallic, and the gravity was slightly heavier than Earth's. It pressed against his legs. But he refused to show any discomfort. Dozens of cadets stood in the bay, their uniforms fresh and crisp. Tom noticed many tall and strong figures, scaled Virexians with sharp eyes, thick-shelled Growlix, and quick-moving Filari with long tails. Beside them, the few humans looked small and light. Tom's friend from Earth, Liam, walked up beside him. "Looks like we're the smallest ones here," Liam whispered, keeping his eyes forward. "Size isn't everything," Tom said, though he wasn't sure if he was convincing himself or his friend. A sharp voice cut through the chatter. "Cadets, line up." The voice belonged to Commander Zern. He was a Kravax, standing to heads taller than any human, his skin covered in deep green scales that shimmered under the lights. His golden eyes swept over the group, measuring each one. Tom had heard of Zern before coming here. He was known for being one of the toughest instructors in the Alliance, and for having no patience for weakness. Zern paced slowly down the line of cadets. "Welcome to the United Star Alliance Academy," he said, his voice deep and heavy. "You are here because you showed potential. But let me make one thing clear. Potential is nothing without strength and discipline." He stopped in front of a human recruit further down the line and tilted his head slightly. "Some of you come from worlds that breed warriors. Some of you come from worlds that breed soft creatures." His eyes lingered on the humans for a moment longer before moving on. Tom felt heat rise in his chest but kept his face still. The cadets were led through the academy's main corridors, which were wide and clean, with walls lined by glowing panels. Everywhere Tom looked, alien technology filled the space, doors that opened with a hiss, message boards displaying text in multiple languages, and floating drones that moved silently overhead. The group arrived at the central training hall. It was enormous, with a high ceiling and a floor marked for combat drills. In the corner, racks of training weapons and gear gleamed under the lights. Zern stood in front of them. "This is where you will learn to fight, to survive, and to win. You will train until your bodies and minds are sharper than steel. And if you cannot keep up, you will leave." The first training was a basic fitness test, but under the heavy gravity of Zerth Prime, even simple runs became difficult. The larger alien cadets moved with confidence, while humans struggled to keep pace. Tom pushed himself, refusing to slow down, his legs burning with every step. By the time the session ended, sweat ran down his face, and his breathing was heavy. He noticed Zern's eyes on him, unreadable, before the commander turned away. After training, the cadets were taken to the mess hall. The smell of various alien foods filled the air. Tom and Liam found a seat at a corner table, but the room was loud with voices. At a nearby table, two Virexian cadets were talking loudly enough for Tom to hear. "They bring humans here every cycle," one of them said. "Always the same. They try hard, but they break." Tom kept eating, though his jaw tightened. Liam leaned closer and whispered, "Ignore them. They want you to react." "I know," Tom said, forcing himself to take another bite. Later that night, in the shared dormitory, Tom lay on his bed staring at the ceiling. Round him, cadets from many worlds were settling in. He could still hear the voices from earlier. In his mind, soft creatures, they break. His hands curled into fists. He thought of Earth, of the fields and skies he had left behind, of his family who believed in him. He thought of all the stories in which humans had faced impossible odds and still won. Zern's voice echoed in his head, cold and dismissive. Tom made himself a quiet promise. He would not break. He would not give up. And one day, he would make them see what a human could do. The morning started with the sharp buzz of the dorm alarm. Cadets hurried to dress in their training gear, boots thudding against the metal floor. Tom was ready before most. He had been awake for a while, mind running through what the day might bring. The cadets assembled in the central training hall. Commander Zern stood at the front, arms crossed, his green scales catching the light. His gaze moved over the line of recruits, pausing briefly on the humans. Today we begin combat conditioning, Zern announced. You will learn how to move, strike, and endure in conditions far worse than this station. Weakness will be found and removed. The warm-up started simple, stretching, jumps, and quick sprints. But the gravity on Zerth Prime made each movement heavier, each breath a little harder. The alien cadets moved with ease, their bodies used to higher gravity. The humans, smaller and lighter, had to work harder to match the pace. During push-up drills, Tom's arms trembled under the weight, but he pushed through. Beside him, Liam was slower, his face red with effort. Zern walked between the rows of cadets. Faster, he barked at a group of human recruits. If you cannot move under this gravity, you will be crushed in real combat. Some alien cadets smirked at the comment. A tall Phileri with sharp, cat-like eyes whispered something to the Virexian next to him, and both laughed quietly. Tom caught the glance, but kept going. The drills shifted to short sparring matches. Cadets were paired up, often with partners of similar size or skill. But Zern made a point of pairing humans with larger aliens. Tom was matched with a Growlithe named Dern, a cadet with thick shell plates across his arms and chest. Begin. Zern ordered. Dern stepped forward with heavy swings, his arms like hammers. Tom ducked and moved back, his mind focused on staying light and quick. He could not match Dern's strength, but he could avoid being hit twice. He managed to land quick jabs to Dern's side before the Growlithe's reach forced him away again. The match ended without a clear winner, but Tom stayed on his feet, which he counted as a small victory. After several rounds, Zern called the group together. You see the difference, he said to the alien cadets. A warrior should dominate the fight. If you waste time dancing around your enemy, you give them a chance to strike back. Humans rely too much on evasion because they lack power. The words stung. Tom stayed quiet, his expression neutral, but he felt a spark of frustration inside him. The session moved into weapon handling. The training hall had racks of practice blades and staves, built from light alloys for safety, but still heavy under the station's gravity. Tom handled a staff, testing its balance in his hands. Zern demonstrated a series of moves, quick and precise. Then the cadets practiced in pairs. Tom's partner was a Virexian with long arms and sharp claws. The spar was fast, the clack of their weapons echoing through the hall. Tom used the staff to block and redirect strikes, learning to use his opponents' reach against them. When training ended, muscles across Tom's body ached. Sweat clung to his uniform, and his hands were sore from gripping the staff. Still, there was a sense of pride in having kept up, even if Zern refused to acknowledge it. In the mess hall, the day's events became the main topic. At one table, alien cadets laughed as they replayed certain sparring moments. Tom and Liam sat together, eating quietly. I'm not sure if Zern hates us or just wants us to quit, Liam said, stabbing a fork into his food. Maybe both, Tom replied. But I'm not quitting. Near the center of the room, the same Phileri from earlier spoke loudly enough for nearby tables to hear. The humans were slow again today. They move like they're stuck in water. In a real battle, they'd be the first to fall. A few others laughed. Tom ignored it, but Liam's jaw tightened. Let it go, Tom whispered. We'll prove them wrong in the training ring. Not here. Later that evening, the cadets had a short lecture in the tactical hall. The walls displayed holographic maps and battle simulations. Zern paced at the front as he spoke about planetary combat and how different species adapted to their home environments. When he reached the topic of human evolution, his tone shifted. Humans developed on a soft world with mild climates. They have no natural armor, no claws, no natural weapons. They survive not through strength, but through luck and tools. Without those tools, their bodies are among the weakest in the galaxy. Some cadets chuckled at this, and Zern did nothing to stop them. Tom sat still, but his hands were clenched under the table. He was listening carefully, memorizing the way Zern moved and spoke. The insults were obvious, but he refused to let his emotions take control. Not yet. After the lecture, Tom returned to the dorms. He trained alone for another hour, running short sprints in the hallway, practicing staff strikes in the empty corner of the room. Every muscle in his body was tired, but his mind stayed sharp. If Zern thought humans were weak, Tom decided he would make the commanders see otherwise. The days passed quickly at the academy, but each felt heavier for the human cadets. Commander Zern's words and actions weighed on them like a storm cloud. Every drill, every lesson, seemed designed to test not just their bodies but their will. Tom woke early, the first light of the gas giant outside filtering through the dorm window. His body ached from yesterday's training, but he did not rest. Instead, he practiced moves he had seen during combat drills. Each strike was precise, controlled. He knew strength was important, but speed and cleverness could win battles. At the morning assembly, Zern addressed the cadets with a sharper edge than before. Today, you will spar against opponents stronger than yourselves. You will learn to overcome power with skill. Humans, you will fight first. The human group exchanged nervous glances. Some younger cadets looked uncertain, but Tom's face was steady. The sparring matches began in the large training arena. The floor was padded, and the walls were lined with sensors to record movements. Tom's opponent was a Filari named Kelm. Kelm was lithe and fast, with long arms tipped with claws. He smirked when he saw he was paired with a human, ready to lose. Earthling, Kelm hissed softly. Tom said nothing. The bell sounded, and the match began. Kelm lunged with a quick swipe, but Tom dodged low and rolled aside. He struck at Kelm's side with a sharp jab, but Kelm's claws blocked the blow easily. They circled each other, waiting for an opening. Tom kept his eyes on Kelm's movements, noting how the alien balanced on the balls of his feet, ready to strike. Suddenly, Kelm attacked with a flurry of fast strikes. Tom barely blocked them all, his arms stinging. He stepped back, catching his breath. Zern watched from the sidelines, his face unreadable. Tom focused. Instead of meeting strength with strength, he looked for gaps. When Kelm overextended, Tom struck the exposed leg, forcing the Filari to lose balance. The crowd of cadets watching gasped softly. Tom followed with a quick sweep of his staff, knocking Kelm down gently but firmly. The match ended with Tom standing, Kelm on the ground. The referee declared it a win for Tom. Later, Zern called Tom forward. His face was serious. Your style is clever, human. You rely on speed and precision. But do not think that will be enough in a real fight. Tom nodded, not daring to respond. In the days that followed, Zern increased the difficulty of training. He made humans carry heavier gear during runs and assigned them to fight opponents who were often twice their size. One afternoon, during a lesson on combat strategy, Zern spoke bluntly. Humans survive by using tools and tricks, but when stripped of those, they are weak. Your bodies are not designed for war. Tom sat quietly, but inside, the words burned like fire. After class, Tom met Liam and another human cadet, Mara, in the hall. Mara's eyes were bright with anger. We have to stop listening to him, she said. If we believe his words, we lose before the fight even starts. Liam nodded. But how? He controls every lesson and every drill. Tom thought for a moment. We keep training harder. We prove him wrong by what we do, not by what we say. Mara smiled briefly. You really believe that? Tom's eyes were steady. I have to. As the sunlight light outside the station dimmed, the cadets prepared for another round of sparring. This time, Zern announced a new challenge. Humans, you will fight without weapons. Use your bodies and minds only. Show me how you survive without tools." The room fell silent. For many humans, this was terrifying. Their species had always relied on technology and weapons. Now, they had to face raw combat. Tom stepped forward with calm. He felt the eyes of other cadets on him, some doubtful, some curious. His opponent was a tall Kravax named Vrek, one of Zern's best students. Vrek was massive, with thick muscles and powerful claws. The bell rang. Vrek charged with a roar, swinging huge arms. Tom dodged low, rolling past the blows. He stayed close, aiming for pressure points on Vrek's joints. Vrek growled in frustration, swinging harder. But Tom's movements were faster and smarter. He slipped behind Vrek, pushing him off balance. The fight ended with Tom standing, breathing hard, and Vrek nodding with a new respect. Zern stepped forward. "Not bad, human. You have spirit. But remember, spirit without strength will not win wars." Tom felt something shift. The commander's voice was less harsh, less certain. That night, Tom sat alone in the training yard. Looking at the stars, he thought of all the challenges ahead. One thing was clear: he would not allow anyone to call humans weak again. The training hall was filled with the low hum of activity as cadets prepared for their next lesson. The large chamber had walls of polished metal that reflected the bright overhead lights. Tom adjusted his uniform and checked the grip on his training staff. His muscles were sore from days of intense drills, but his spirit burned stronger than ever. Commander Zern stood at the center of the hall, his tall, green-scaled figure commanding attention. His golden eyes scanned the cadets with cold focus. The murmurs from the crowd quieted as Zern's voice rang out. "Today, we test not only your skill but your courage," Zern said. "The humans will demonstrate their combat abilities before the entire academy." Tom stepped forward. Tom's heart beat faster, but he kept his face calm. He walked to the front with steady steps, feeling all eyes upon him. The room was filled with cadets from many species, some whispering, some watching with curiosity. Tom remembered the words that had followed humans since their arrival: weak, soft, fragile. Zern's voice cut through the silence again. "You will attack me. Show us what a human can do. Do not hold back." Tom nodded silently. The room seemed to shrink as he faced Zern. The commander's stature was imposing, muscles thick and strong. Tom knew this was no ordinary demonstration. It was a challenge and a test of will. Zern made the first move, stepping forward with a controlled strike. Tom dodged quickly, feeling the rush of air as the blow missed him by inches. He moved with careful precision, watching for an opening. "Humans think they can survive through speed and cunning alone," Zern said, his voice loud enough for all to hear. "But strength is what wins battles. Remember that, Tom." The taunt stung, but Tom did not respond. Instead, he focused on the training he had practiced for months. He watched Zern's movements carefully, noticing the pattern beneath the power. Zern struck again, more forcefully. Tom ducked under the blow, sliding to the side and reaching for the commander's jaw. The moment came suddenly, a flash of decision. Tom's hand connected with Zern's jaw with a firm but controlled strike. A sharp crack echoed through the hall. Zern's head snapped to the side, his mouth opening in surprise and pain. The commander staggered back, clutching his jaw. Gasps filled the room. The crowd was silent, shocked by the unexpected moment. Zern's golden eyes met Tom's. Wide with disbelief, the commander's jaw was clearly dislocated, and pain crossed his usually unreadable face. For a moment, time seemed to stand still. Then Zern straightened, still holding his jaw but no longer angry. His gaze softened slightly as he looked at Tom. "You have courage," Zern said, his voice quieter now, "and skill." The medical staff rushed in to help Zern, guiding him away from the hall. The cadets whispered among themselves, the atmosphere thick with tension and awe. Tom stood still, breathing hard. The weight of what had just happened settled over him. He had done what no one expected. He had shown the academy that humans were not weak. Later, Tom found Liam waiting outside the hall. Liam's eyes were wide with surprise and pride. "You did it," Liam said simply. Tom nodded, his face still serious. "I did what I had to do." Word spread quickly through the academy. Some cadets looked at Tom with new respect, while others seemed wary. The story of the jaw strike became a quiet legend among the recruits. That evening, Tom returned to his quarters. He sat on his bed, thinking over the day's events. The anger he had felt for months began to shift. This was only the beginning. He knew that proving humans strong was not just about one moment. It was about every day that followed, every lesson learned, every challenge met. Commander Zern's words echoed in his mind. Strength wins battles. Tom understood now that strength was not only muscle and power, but also courage and heart. The next days would bring new tests, new fights, and new challenges. But Tom was ready. He would show the galaxy that humans were far from weak. The news of what happened in the training hall spread through the academy like wildfire. Cadets whispered in hallways, shared the story in mess halls, and even instructors spoke quietly about the moment when Tom, a human cadet, had snapped Commander Zern's jaw in front of everyone. Tom felt the weight of all eyes on him. Some looked with admiration, others with doubt or anger. The academy, a place known for discipline and respect, suddenly felt charged with tension. The next morning, Tom was called to the academy council chamber. The chamber was a large room with high ceilings and walls that showed images of great battles. From the past, senior officers from many species sat around a glowing table. Commander Zern was there too, his jaw tightly bandaged but his presence still strong. Tom stepped inside, feeling his heartbeat quicken but keeping his expression calm. One of the senior officers, a tall Growlithe with a rough shell, spoke first. Cadet Tom, we have heard what happened yesterday. Please explain your actions. Tom took a deep breath. Sir, Commander Zern asked me to attack him in front of the cadets. It was a test. I used what I was taught in training. I did not intend to hurt him seriously. It was part of the lesson. The council members looked at each other. Some nodded slowly, others frowned. Commander Zern finally spoke. His voice was quieter than usual, but clear. Tom did not hold back. He showed skill and speed I did not expect. His strike was precise. I am recovering well. This was not disrespect, but proof of human ability. A murmur passed through the chamber. Some officers looked surprised, others thoughtful. The chief officer, a wise-looking Filari with amber eyes, addressed Tom. Your actions have sparked debate across the academy. Some see them as defiance, others as courage. You have made a statement. Do you understand this? Tom nodded. Yes, ma'am. I want to prove that humans are not weak. I want to earn respect through my actions. The Filari smiled slightly. Then you have our attention. Continue to train hard. Show us more. Tom left the chamber with a mix of relief and determination. He knew the days ahead would be even harder. Outside the chamber, Liam was waiting. That went better than I expected, Liam said. Tom smiled faintly. It did. But the real test is what comes next. Back in the training halls, things began to change. Commander Zern, though still strict, treated Tom and the other humans with less contempt. He assigned them fair matches and acknowledged their growing skill. Other instructors began to give humans better opportunities in drills. The alien cadets started to look at the humans differently, not as weaklings, but as fighters who could hold their own. Still, some cadets whispered behind backs. Rivalries grew, but so did respect. Tom found himself at the center of it all, a symbol of human strength and determination. One afternoon, after a tough training session, Mara approached Tom. You changed things, she said quietly. Not just for us, but for all humans here. Tom shook his head. I just did what I had to do. The real change comes from all of us working hard. Mara smiled. Still, you gave us hope. Tom looked out the window at the stars beyond the station. We have a long way to go, but this is a start. In the weeks that followed, Tom's reputation grew. He was no longer just a human cadet. He was a leader among his peers. The academy began to see humans as more than just fragile creatures. Commander Zern's jaw healed, but the lesson remained. The day Tom struck him became a story told quietly by cadets of all species. It was a turning point. Tom knew that respect was earned over time, not by a single act, but he had made the first step. The journey was far from over, but the path was clearer now. Humans were no longer weak. The days after the incident brought a slow but steady change in the Academy's atmosphere. Tom noticed it in small ways. When he passed by alien cadets in the hallways, some offered nods of respect instead of sneers. During training, instructors assigned more balanced partners, and the words that once stung now felt less sharp. Commander Zern, though still firm and demanding, no longer openly insulted the human cadets. His pride seemed wounded but controlled. Tom wondered if the commander's respect had grown beneath his rough exterior. One morning, as the cadets gathered for a new training session, Zern addressed the group. His voice was serious but different. Strength is not just muscle or size. It is will, focus, and heart. Humans have shown these qualities, and I expect more. Tom exchanged a glance with Liam and Mara, who smiled quietly. They all felt the shift. Training intensified. The exercises were harder, and expectations higher. Tom's muscles ached, but he welcomed the challenge. Each day was a chance to prove himself and his people. During one sparring match, Tom faced a towering Virexian named Krell. Krell was known for his brute force and endurance. The crowd watched closely, remembering the story of Tom's strike against Zern. The match began with Krell charging like a storm. Tom dodged quickly, using agility to avoid heavy blows. He struck carefully, targeting weak points and waiting for an opening. The fight was fierce and long, pushing both cadets to their limits. In the final moments, Tom used a quick sweep to unbalance Krell, then delivered a controlled strike that won the match. The crowd erupted in cheers. Even Krell nodded in respect. Afterward, as Tom caught his breath, Zern approached. You fight with skill and honor. Humans are becoming a force here. Tom felt a warmth of pride. It was not just about winning, but about changing minds. But not everyone welcomed the change. Some cadets whispered that Tom was lucky, that humans were still weaker in raw strength. Rivalries simmered, waiting for any sign of weakness to exploit. One evening, Liam warned Tom, "Keep your guard up. Not all want us to succeed." Tom nodded. "I know. We have to be better every day." Outside of training, Tom spent time learning about other cultures and technologies. He knew that humans had strengths beyond combat: adaptability, creativity, and teamwork. He shared ideas with fellow cadets, building friendships and alliances. The Academy was no longer just a place of hardship. It was becoming a place where humans could belong. Months passed. Tom and his friends grew stronger and wiser. The story of the jaw incident became a symbol not of defiance alone, but of potential realized. Commander Zern called a special assembly. "You have all grown. You have faced challenges and proven your worth. Humans are small in size, but not in spirit." The words were simple but powerful. For many cadets, it was the first time an instructor publicly recognized humans as equals. Tom stood tall, feeling the weight of his journey. From the moment he arrived, mocked and doubted, to now, respected and trusted, he had changed the story of his people. The future was still uncertain. There would be more battles, more tests, but Tom was ready. Humans had earned their place among the stars. The day of the final combat trials had arrived. The entire academy buzzed with excitement and tension. Cadets from every species gathered in the grand arena, ready to show what they had learned. Among them stood Tom, his heart steady but his mind alert. Months of hard training had brought him here. From the moment he stepped onto Zereth Prime, he had faced doubt and scorn. But now, he stood not as a fragile human, but as a fighter respected by many. The trials began with challenges, testing speed, strength, and strategy. Tom moved through each with focus and skill. His opponents were strong and skilled, but he stayed calm, using every lesson learned. The final trial was a one-on-one combat match against a large Growlithe named Rook. Rook was powerful and well known for his aggressive style. The crowd watched closely, remembering the story of Tom's strike against Commander Zern. The bell sounded, and the match began. Rook charged forward with heavy blows, aiming to overpower Tom quickly. But Tom used speed and precision, dodging the attacks and striking where he could. The fight was intense. Tom felt every muscle strain as he kept moving, weaving around Rook's swings. He waited for the right moment, then delivered a swift strike that unbalanced his opponent. Rook stumbled but recovered quickly, roaring and pressing his attack. Tom stayed focused, knowing that winning required more than strength, that needed control and heart. With careful timing, Tom used a move taught by Zern himself, pushing Rook off balance once more. This time, Rook fell to the ground, signaling the end of the match. The crowd erupted in cheers. Tom stood, breathing hard but proud. He had one dot after the match. Commander Zern approached Tom. His jaw was fully healed, and a rare smile touched his lips. "You have done well," Zern said. "Humans may be small in size, but their spirit is strong. You have proven this beyond doubt." Tom nodded, feeling the weight of those words. It was more than a personal victory, it was a victory for all humans. At the graduation ceremony, leaders from many worlds spoke of courage, honor, and strength. Tom listened as the head of the academy praised the progress of the human cadets as a species. Humans have shown resilience and determination. Their journey here reminds us all that strength is not only in muscle but in will. Tom received his diploma, the symbol of his achievement. He looked around at his fellow cadets, proud of how far they had come together. Later, as the crowds dispersed, Liam and Mara joined Tom. "We made it," Liam said with a grin. Mara smiled. "And we changed minds forever." Tom looked out at the stars beyond the station's windows. He thought of Earth, of the people who had believed in him. "This is just the beginning," Tom said. "Humans will rise. We have proven we belong among the stars." The story of the day when a human cadet snapped the jaw of an alien commander became a legend. It was told and read old, inspiring future generations of humans to stand tall and never accept the word weak. Tom's journey was a testament to courage, hard work, and the unyielding spirit of humanity. The Academy had changed, and so had the galaxy's view of humans. The future was bright, and humans were ready to meet it head-on.